Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. It is Monday. What's the date today? The 21st. And this episode is brought to you by Earthquaker Devices. If you play rock and roll, country, soul, jazz, whatever the hell you play, get yourself a stomp box. Earthquaker Devices. They're fantastic. Look them up. They're from Akron, Ohio, land of Devo. So there you go, earthquakerdevices.com. Follow them on Twitter and Instagram. Get yourself a compression or an octave, a fuzz, an overdrive. They got badass shirts, too. I'm rocking their octopus shirt. Octopus! All right. All right, here we are, episode 200. 200. I can't even believe it.
That's a lot, dude.
That is a lot, right? My guest today is, I have two guests today, but Kevin Christy. Great friend. My new name for him, The Angel.
That's what Jesus calls me. Bro, you're his angel. You're Dean's angel, bro.
Yeah. Hey, bro, no fooling, man.
Yeah, we saw Neil's 3 mic thing at Largo, and we were talking about it. He goes, dude, Dean told me that story, dude. You're his angel.
It's pretty crazy, man. If you think about... Well, here's what happened. Of course, everybody that follows me knows I was in a motorcycle crash on September 7th, Labor Day. I got up, got a text from Mark Maron, come over, let's eat lunch and play some guitars. I was like, hell yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I shower, it's 12:30, get on the bike, get onto the 101 freeway to get to the 110 towards Pasadena.
Classic mistake.
No, not great highway to ride usually because it's like an old weird highway that's like a racetrack.
Yeah, the 110 is like, it's like they took a horse trail and paved it.
Yeah.
It's wedged between some mountains. There's this little skate park on the right. It's old as fuck.
It's old and it's
2 lanes, a little gnarly. It's like PCH, but on over here.
It's weird because cars are coming onto it.
Yeah.
You know, which is really weird. I never got the gist of that. And I heard that they could have made it straight, but they didn't want it boring back in the day, so they make it all curvy, which is fun.
When I drive on that, I always think, like, how did old, huge cars drive on this thing?
It's really...
Because it's narrow as hell, and you're like, dude, how did, like, a 52 Mercury or, like, a 59 Cadillac... It must have been bumper cars.
Not only that, but there's no lights out on it at night. When you're coming home at night, it's just pitch black.
Yeah.
So I get onto the 110, and I'm headed towards Marin, and right before there's a split. There's a Highway 5 110 split, and it becomes a tunnel. So I always know, I've been riding for years, get all the way to the right, because there's always going to be assholes in the left that are texting or smoking weed or fucking with their stereo, and they go, oh shit, I don't want to be in the 5, and they'll just boogie over.
Yeah.
They always do that. So I always stay far to the right. Now, this particular day, it's Labor Day, and I say to myself, man, what a great fucking day to ride. There's no one on the road.
It was no traffic.
No one. It was everybody was at barbecues.
Yeah.
As soon as I say that, in my mind, I'm coming up on the tunnel. I always slow down a little bit in the tunnel because my eyes need to change.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden dark.
It's 95 degrees out.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's roasting. I slow down a little, and as I do, I hear a boom, which is a car flooring it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I hear that, I look in my left rear view mirror, and I see a silver SUV instantly plow me.
Dude.
Instantly. Doing 70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Now, as soon as it hits, it goes boom. I go, what the fuck? As soon as I say, what the fuck, I'm flying down the freeway.
Dude.
and I look to my left, and the motorcycle's sliding to the left. I actually see it, and I can hear the motor still kind of running. And I think to myself, all right. And I remember I told you.
Were you in the air or on the ground?
I went to the ground kind of immediately, Because when she hit me from the left back side, I went down.
So you fell ostensibly counterclockwise.
Clockwise, like 1 to 3. Like
okay,
this.
so you fell forward.
Like that, right.
Okay.
So she hits me, boom, I'm sliding.
Where do you think the car hit your bike exactly? Back tire?
Oh, exactly. The back part, like right behind my left leg. Now, if she was going a little faster, she would have ripped my leg off.
Yeah.
Because she would have been just a hair ahead.
Yeah.
And that would have squished my leg off.
Yeah.
So as I go down, I'm sliding on the ground, and people say, was it slow motion? No, it was very fast.
Really?
Yeah, it was very fast, and there was a lot of noise of like... Because what I didn't know at the time was when she hit me, she went into the tunnel wall, and her left front tire fell off, which caused the...
Was it the left front or the back right?
I thought it was the left front.
I remember it as the back right.
Okay, good. Then my memory is trash because it was kind of blurry right there.
Yeah.
All I know is whatever her tire falling off caused the car to stop moving towards me, or she would have ran me over.
Yeah.
Because she was on a getaway.
Yeah.
Which we'll tell you why in a minute, which I didn't know. But if the tire wouldn't have fallen off, she would have just kept going, ran over me, and kept going. It was a massive SUV. I think it's an Escalade, right? I remember it had chrome rims.
It might have been a Yukon.
It was really big, and it had the giant chrome rims.
Yeah, had giant
and it was
rims.
like new.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
So her tire falling off caused the car to go to the left and spin out into a 360 and take other cars out in the tunnel.
She hit a maroon sedan, and then I think...
A minivan, right?
No, it was just a sedan, and then she rocketed back across the tunnel to the other side.
Right.
Yeah, because she was wedged against the other wall.
So she was going so fast that she hit me, bounced off the wall, and then 360 back completely behind me in the other part of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Which was insane.
Yeah, across basically 4 lanes. There's 4 lanes there.
So I'm laying there, and the bike turns out, and I'm like, whoa. And it's all of a sudden now it's kind of silence.
But you rolled for a while.
Oh, yeah, like 200 feet. I'm far up from the rides.
Yeah.
And I thought I was laying down, but I guess now as I think about it, I was standing up. And all of a sudden I heard, dude, are you all right? And I was like, what the fuck happened? And I looked, and it was you.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, the first thing I thought was, oh, well, when you die, you get to hang with your friends still. That's exactly what I thought.
Right.
Oh,
right.
Kevin's here.
Right.
Yeah. Why would you be there other than me being dead?
Right, yeah.
There's no way. How many people are in L.A.?
2 million?
Is it 2 million?
Something like that, yeah.
Why would you be at this crash?
Well, on Labor Day, I had gone to do Christina Przitsky's podcast, That's Deep Bro. She does her own podcast where she talks like philosophical mind stuff, a lot about psychology and stuff. And I did it once before. It was really fun. And so I went down there. She lives super far, like Redondo Beach. So I went down there, did the podcast, and I was driving home on Labor Day. I was supposed to come back, pick up my girl, take her to drop off a subwoofer somewhere.
Yeah.
And then drive my brother to the drive my brother to the airport.
Pick him up at the airport.
Pick him up at the airport. So I'm on the 110. I'm trying to connect to the 5. All of a sudden it slows. And again, traffic is great. All the way back from Redondo, there's like no traffic. I'm like, this is the best.
Yep.
So I'm driving. All of a sudden, it starts to slow down. I'm like, it's probably normal Labor Day traffic. Well, then it comes to a stop, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. So I look up ahead, and I'm like, oh, there's been an accident. And it looks like it just happened because there's no sirens or anything.
No one.
And I'm pulling, and I'm kind of inching closer. I'm in the left lane, and I look, and I see there's a tire in the middle of the road, middle lane. And I see a dude in shorts go and grab the tire and move it. I'm like, oh shit, this accident just happened. But I look and there's a bunch of people standing by that truck and by the sedan, and they're all standing up. So I'm like, okay, and none of them are on their phones. So I'm like, okay, I bet you everyone's just kind of okay. It was a bad fender bender. They spun out, but no one's dying. So I start to pull around the car. I get past it. I look over and I see what looks a lot like Dean Del Rey. And I'm probably 100 feet away from you, and I'm like, that looks a lot like Dean Del Rey standing. And then I look and I see the bike, and I recognize the colors of the bikes, turquoise and white Harley. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that's Dean. But from far away, and you're standing, I'm like, oh, I bet she pulled over to try to help. You know, I'm like, that's a classic fucking Dean thing to do. And I'm like, I'll pull over. I'll be like, what's up, dude? And he'll be like, dude, gnarly crash. I'm just making sure everyone's cool. And then I'll go home.
Yeah, right.
Like, so I pull over. As I pull over, this guy's got his like hand on your shoulder, and I'm like, that's a little weird. Yeah. And I get closer and I look, and your shirt's all kind of dirty.
Yeah,
that's the first thing I see, and it's wrinkled. And then I get closer, and I just see blood on your arms, and I'm like, oh fuck. And then I look at the bike, and the bike's all fucked up.
Yeah, it's on its side.
Yeah, and I'm like,
or was it picked up?
He picked it up at that point, but it was all fucked up. It was all scratched. I'm like, oh shit, this lady hit him, but I couldn't tell how bad.
Yeah,
and so I pull over. And I roll down the window and I go, Dean. And you're like, and you didn't hear me at first.
Yeah.
You're like, what? And I go, Dean. And you look in and you go, I go, you all right? And you go, Kevin? Like that.
I couldn't believe it.
And that point, I look at you and I'm like, oh, you're fucking out of it.
Oh.
So I get out of the car and I come up to him. I go, hey, dude, are you all right? And you go, dude, I just got hit on my bike going 70. Oh. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
She was going 70.
Yeah. And I look and your jeans are all fucked up.
Yeah.
And but again, not that fucked up considering the level of denim we're discussing.
I knew that she was going 70 because I was doing about 50 because of the tunnel transit. And I know the dynamics of speed from riding for years. You cannot hit somebody that quick.
Yeah.
When I look in my rearview mirror and hit a sound.
For her to gain on you that quickly.
You have to be going a good 20, 30 faster.
She may have been going faster than that.
She may have been.
If you're going 50 and she caught you that quick.
Because it was instantly. It was like, woo, woo, and then.
Yeah. So I get out of my car, which, by the way, it's really weird to get out of your car in the tunnel on the 110.
Oh, yeah.
It feels weird. You're just like, am I? And I was like, am I going to fucking die?
Anything could happen because there's not people paying attention. No. There's debris all over the road.
Yeah. So, and there's shit all over the road. And I'm like, dude, are you all right? And you're like, dude, this chick hit me. And I'm like, are you all right? And I go, I think I went like, did you hit your head? Yeah. And you go, no, I slid and I rolled. And I was like, okay. And then you took out your phone. You were like, hey, call Marin, tell him I can't come.
I'm not going to make lunch.
I can't go to lunch. And so you hand me your phone, and I call, and I get on the phone, and Marin just goes, yo. And I go, hey, man, it's Kevin. I'm with Dean on the 110. He got hit on his bike. He seems pretty jacked up. He's not going to make it. And Marin goes, oh, fuck. Should I come down there?
You're doing pretty good.
And I'm like, I go, no, man. I go, I'll let you know. I'm going to stay here with him. I'm sure, because I figured I'm sure someone's on their way. Because at that point, there were like those 4 people who I think were in another car. That one young dude who had the prosthetic leg, who he must be like a veteran or something.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like, it was like he was in charge, and he had seen the whole thing.
Yep.
So they were kind of like, oh, we called, paramedics are on the way. And the dude who was next to you, I don't know who he was being real rad. He was like, oh, someone's on their way, the paramedics are coming.
Yeah.
So then you and I are just standing there, and you're just like, dude, you're in total shock.
I couldn't move.
Yeah, you were kind of like, you would kind of step and move a little.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, man, sit in my car. And you go, nah, dude, it hurts. Like, you tried to sit, and you were like, dude, it hurts to sit.
Yeah,
so I think at that point, you're ripped up.
The full side is ripped open.
Yeah.
And the amount of pain coming off the side was completely disguising all the other pain that I didn't even know I had coming until a few days later.
Yeah, so at that point, you're like, it's the scrape pain, which is like a burn.
Yeah, it was a burn.
So you didn't want to sit. So I was like, all right. Just stay put, and I start walking around asking questions to people, and that's when the dude with the prosthetic leg is like, yeah, this lady hit him, jumped out of the car, was like scratching herself, and is like, someone's trying to kill me, and ran off. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, dude, she just left her car.
Yeah.
And at that point, I go over and I walk to the truck, and I notice the missing tire, and there's debris from your bike everywhere. Part of it's like from the rim scraping on their truck. And then there's that lady the car the lady driving the truck hit. There's a lady she's out of her car, sitting on the curb, just leaned against the wall, real shook up.
She's jacked.
Super jacked, like whiplash or something. She was like, they were like, hey, do you want to stand? She was like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to move.
Yeah.
So I think she got hit really hard, and it jacked her neck up or something. So I'm just kind of walking around. The one guy's staying with you, and then I'm just like, hey man, what do you want to do? And you're like, let's just wait for the paramedics. And I'm like, okay, and you're real out of it. You're just like, oh god, dude. You're like, fuck, dude.
It was pretty bizarre the amount of pain.
And you're like, dude, the bike is fucked.
It was.
And you're looking at it, and you're like, dude, bike's totaled.
Oh well, they tried to move it at one point.
Oh yeah,
out of the lane, and it would not.
Yeah,
roll.
so then the paramedics, not the paramedic, but the fire department,
fire truck comes first.
Fire truck. It's that paramedic fire truck.
Yeah,
the square one.
Yep.
So they show up. The dude, they try to pick the bike up, but it won't roll.
It won't.
So the two of them lift it up by the back and get it across the street.
And all the fluid's out of it.
Yeah.
It just broke open the primary.
Put it parallel with the truck. And then they take you to the back of the truck, and they're checking you out or whatever. I'm still on the side, and I start talking to the people, and they're
Which, by the way, they have no bottled waters.
That's weird.
One of my biggest complaints. Everyone there is all fucking beat up and I'm like, do you have any water? It's 95. I'm completely dehydrated, and I've just been hit by a car.
At that moment, because you're in the truck, and I'm like, okay, so I'm just walking around. I got nothing to do. And the first thing I thought was, God, thank God this happened in the tunnel. Can you imagine if we were in the sun right now?
Oh, just cooking.
Just getting baked.
Yeah, it was 95.
It was awful.
And we'd been laying there with wounds in the sun.
So I start talking to the other people, and these tell me about, these, like, the lady jumped into a moving car, then that was already moving, and she, like, and it took off.
Yeah, like a getaway vehicle.
I don't know if it was, it wasn't like, hey, the person driving the car she jumped into wasn't like, hey, get in. She just jumped into an open window, apparently.
Yeah.
So they're talking to me, and the guy's like, dude, it's so cool for you to stop. And I go, no, dude, that's my fucking friend.
Yeah.
He's like, really? I go, yeah, dude, we're comics.
Yeah.
I go, that's my buddy Dean. He's like, whoa, dude, weird.
Which later, he Googled comedian Dean LA and found me on Instagram and said he had photos and he was a witness for the crash.
Right. Okay,
Which is incredible that he found me,
So then the paramedics let you out, and they're like...
Well, there's only one paramedic, and the black lady is really messed up.
Yeah.
And they said, well, by law, we got to take you in. You were hit first. And I said, well, you got to take her.
Yeah.
There's only one thing, and I can ride with my guy here.
Yeah. I'm like, they're like, well, you want to ride with us? And I'm like, no, dude, I'll take him.
Yeah.
And then it was, at first you were like, yeah, because I think one of them was like, yeah, just go home and get cleaned up. And it was
that's what he said at first.
And then the lady, you're like, dude, the lady on the phone said, come in and we got, because dude, you had tons of gravel in your skin.
Dude, it was black.
Yeah.
And the complete side, and the guy goes, yeah, just skip that. They're going to try to charge you a lot. Just go home and wash it up.
Yeah, me driving you instead of the fucking paramedic was like $1,500.
Yeah, well, at first he convinced me. I was like, yeah, it must not be that bad. But from the ride from the crash to the hospital, I couldn't even move.
Yeah, and so we drive to the emergency room, which I don't remember which one.
Kaiser on Vermont.
We roll in. They got you in pretty fast.
They did, but what pieces of shit they were.
But once you got in there,
yeah,
dude, it was like we were there for 5 hours.
Yeah, well, here's the main shitty fuck you to Kaiser and everything else about the crash. I am not the criminal here.
Yeah.
So while I'm in there, a lady rolls in with the computer and goes, we need to get a deposit. While I'm sitting there jacked up bloody.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, we need to get like 300 from you. And I'm like, get out of here. I can't even move.
Yeah.
And so then the other lady is not even helping me.
No.
I'm washing my own wounds in the...
Who, Catherine Dong?
Yeah, Catherine Dong. Catherine Dong! That was her name, Catherine Dong.
Yeah.
She's coming in and out.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
no one helped you forever.
No one helped me. And I'm like, do you have any morphine or anything?
Yeah.
I can't move. And now it's really starting to sink in, the pain.
Yeah.
And they go, we have to get this gravel out, so we got to wash the wounds with this brush.
Yeah.
Which is making me scream.
I mean, I look, those people working in an emergency room must be gnarly.
Right.
But there was a lot of people sitting around, it seemed like doing nothing.
Absolutely. And it wasn't even busy.
At that point, Marin's texting me, going, is he all right? And I'm like, Yeah, he's all right. And he's like, oh, he's Instagramming it. I feel like he's okay. Because, like, you were really out of it for a while. And then about an hour after we got you water at the gas station.
Yeah.
Which took forever because the dude was filling someone's fucking propane tank.
Unbelievable.
So we get you water. You were still incredibly out of it. And then it took about an hour and a half for like your brain to come back.
Yeah.
Because, like, you were talking real slow for a while, and I was like, you sure you didn't hit your head?
Yeah, yeah.
And because it was just, but I think it was just your bike. You know, when you think about how much you rolled and how far.
Yeah.
Because we didn't say that. Your bike was at least 200 feet from the truck.
Yep.
And the truck was farther from where she hit you than initially. So you might have went a football field.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And that had to have just completely disoriented
shakes everything.
me.
Your spine's all rattling around.
Yeah.
Your nerve endings, your brain stem's all shook up.
Yep.
So it took you like a couple of hours to get kind of back to normal, and that's when you got on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like went full like check this out.
Yeah.
Because I started getting texts from people.
Yep.
You know, because you were like, Kevin Christy rolled up on me.
Yeah, the angel.
So, yeah, and then I started getting texts from people. And so then, you know, it took forever to get you cleaned up or whatever. And then we went, so then we leave. And we
not before we leave. They try to hit me up for the 300 again.
Yeah. And you were like, yo, I'll have to call you.
I'll call you later.
Yeah.
And then right when I step in the house, okay, so you're home now. Let's go ahead and get that deposit.
No, but we went to we went to Rite Aid to get your drugs.
I forgot we went to Rite Aid.
Go to Rite Aid to get your drugs. You get in line to get drugs. I go to Fat Burger to get us some food. Which, by the way, Fat Burger, great.
Yeah.
Always great. And then, but that's when the pain really kicked in. Well, also you were bandaged.
Yeah.
You all of a sudden were walking so slow.
Yeah.
Because it was like when you first got in my car, you were fucked up, but you were moving at like almost normal pace.
Yeah.
But as soon as you left the hospital, it was like slow zombie status.
Well, I think everything kicked in. My ankle, all of a sudden blew up like a giant softball.
Yeah.
And then my shoulder and rib cage. Now that the fiery of the burn was, you know, they gave me some painkiller or whatever. The other pains were kicking in. The rib cage,
the muscle shit.
That's when it kicked in, and the shoulder blade.
Yeah.
And the fucking knee right here, man.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh shit, you're fucked up.
Yeah.
So then we go get you home, and then what? They hit you up instantly.
They hit me right when I lay down. I take some medication. I see this 323 number, and I'm like, I don't know that. I'll answer anyway. I never run from phone calls. I love getting them. Hello? And she's all, okay, so you're home now. Let's get the deposit. I go, hey, see ya. And I just hung up on her.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm completely floored about the etiquette of it. You know, they weren't even looking at me.
It's so gross. Like, think about how rich America is as a country.
Yeah.
We're the richest country.
Yep.
How is it we haven't figured out how to have people go to the hospital?
It's unbelievable.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah.
When it happens very few times in your life that you go to a hospital.
Yep.
Like have you ever been to an emergency room?
Yeah, I went once for appendix burst, you know?
Last time I went, I was 5.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I was like 18.
The fact that it happens to people that infrequently, but yet it still costs a fortune is so dumb.
Oh, it's just bullshit.
When you think about how much we pay in taxes, state tax, sales tax, everything you pay, we can't get it together to have people be able to just go get when something shitty happens.
Yeah.
All the money you pay for all this instead it goes to putting grass medians in nice neighborhoods. Like, suck a dick.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb because I was hit. I wasn't drunk.
Yeah.
I wasn't stoned.
No.
I wasn't speeding. I was enjoying a day to go to eat some food and play guitars.
Yeah.
I was hit by someone, and now I'm being treated like the criminal.
Yeah.
You know?
And also, I don't give a fuck if the people coming in are criminals.
Yeah.
You're not the cops.
Yeah.
You're a hospital.
Just serve them, man, and figure it out later.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Dude, jails have hospitals.
Yeah.
Giving people health care isn't like aiding a crime.
No. So here's the deal. The next day I get up, I can't really move.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I left and a few people called me. They were like, how is it? I go, he's all right, but the next 2 days are going to be horrendous.
Yeah.
Because how slow you were moving then, I was like, if he's moving that slow now, tomorrow when all of the bruising and all the soreness pops up, I was like, he's fucked.
And the worst part was it started to get kind of scary too, because this is the first time I take the bandages off to shower, and I see all the fucking wounds, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
So then I make a major mistake of taking Vicodin and going, well, I could go to the store and do my spot.
Oh, that's how you were able to do it. Vicodin.
Yeah, Vicodin, see? And what people don't understand is I've never gone on stage loaded.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, I'm in a lot of pain, but I could stand in one spot. What I was completely loaded.
Yeah.
So I get to the store, and Galern picks me up. And which is, by the way, the worst.
Eat puss.
Yeah, puss.
Rock and roll. Tremendous.
Which is the worst ride across town ever, because he's doing about 70 over giant bumps and shit like we're all normal.
Yeah.
And he's like, are you sure you should go? He put my clothes on for me like a 9-year-old or a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
So I go there, and I do this spot, and I don't remember one thing.
Yeah.
I go home. I get back in the shower, go back to sleep, more pills. The next day I go back to the store, going to do the spot one more time.
The Death Squad show?
Yep. Yeah. And that's when I realized I was supposed to go to Sacramento with Ian to do the punchline. And I did the Death Squad show, and I got off stage, and I went to Joe's Pizza, and I sat down, and I almost passed out.
Yeah. Now, what was it, like pain?
What happened was... I think it had really hit me like, oh, everything's fucked up.
Right.
Like my ankle, my lower right leg, my side,
right.
my rib cage. And I really noticed when I tried to do some of the bits like fire, like speak, that I couldn't do it. And I was like, there's no way I can do shows.
Yeah.
And I went back to the store. I told Ian, I can't go tomorrow, dude. I canceled the next 10 days of shows.
Yeah.
And just never left the bed till yesterday when you picked me up to take me to, or Luke brought me to Starbucks and you brought me to Starbucks. It's the first time I've been out of the house in 10 days.
Yeah.
But what happened after that was incredible pain.
Well, I came like a few days after that. Initially,
my ankle
to bring those bandages.
Yeah.
You hit me. You were like, "Yo, are you leaving the house?" And I was like, "Yeah." You're like, "Can you go get me these bandages?" So I did, and you were fucked up.
Yeah,
like it was night. You were just like, "Hey," and I was like, whoa.
I couldn't talk because my ribs were so fucked.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah.
Like and my ankle was like exploded.
Yeah.
It was giant purple. And
did it hurt? Because I wonder if it's just a lot of the swelling. Because I think about the surgery I had not that long ago, and I got this big black eye, not because it was bruised. It was just the blood moving down from the surgery from my forehead into my eye area.
Yeah.
Do you think did you have ankle pain, or was it just like it ballooned up?
No, it was ankle pain because what happened was different pains were coming on. Like I realized the next day my dick was purple. And
did it hurt, or I think that's just blood.
No, my dick and balls smashed the tank, which I didn't know until the next day, because I didn't shit or piss like for the first 24 hours, you know.
Yeah.
And then I went to piss, and I was like, "Oh, my dick!" It kind of hurt on the inner thigh.
Yeah.
And then like upper pube bone, like I smashed.
Right. Yeah.
My fucking package.
Yeah.
So everything started coming on, and then it just it got worse. And I remember laying in bed around noon, and I heard a motorcycle pull up to my house. And I was like, oh, one of my buddies is here. And I couldn't get out of bed. Remember I said, if you're coming over, it takes me about 10 minutes to get out of bed. I have to use the bed post and everything. And then I would roll onto the floor, and then I would slowly do like a left arm push-up because my right arm was fucked, and get up.
Yeah.
And I hear this big knock on the door. I go, that's a cop knock. You know, it's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So this is what the police told me, and we'll find out more this week now that I'm more coherent.
Right.
He said a father picked up his son from Pop Warner football practice around 12:45-ish. in Chinatown, which is directly parallel to the freeway I was on. They stopped at a gas station to get gas. He left the ride running because it was hot with AC. And he went in to pay for the gas. His son decided to get out of the car and go in and get something to drink or whatever.
Right.
With the ride running, someone ran up, jumped in the car and stole it and jumped on the highway immediately. They got onto the highway and then realized, oh, I'm in the wrong lane. I need to get away. They're trying to, escape.
Yeah.
And came across 4 lanes. The only time in the history of LA you can cross 4 lanes
Labor Day.
was Labor Day because no one was on it. And she slammed me, then spun out, crashed, got out, and ran.
Wow.
That's the police story. And now I'm waiting to hear if they caught her, they were going to dust it for prints. And if they dust it for prints, if they do have prints, she has to be in the system.
You got to figure she's in the system.
Yeah, you don't carjack and not be in the system.
Carjacking is not your first crime.
It's not your entry level.
No, yeah. She's in the system for sure.
Yeah.
But that stuff, it's not like TV where they run that let me cross-reference. That stuff takes forever.
Oh, yeah. Because you think they care. I mean, they're just like, yeah.
Well, no one died, so it goes real low on the priority list.
Insurance, we're out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was calling it a felony hit and run. So that's the story, and this is really the first day second day maybe I can really talk like this.
Yeah, you seem way more normal now than you have so far.
Yeah, I couldn't talk, so last week's podcast had no intro because I was laying in bed and I go, oh, I'll do an intro, and I was like, welcome to Let the Talk.
Jesus Christ.
I couldn't talk, so I just put the episode out, and it's just been absolutely... it's brutal because it's depressing and it's scary and of course you get everybody once you're alive, you're happy to be alive.
Yeah. And
then you start thinking, well, I've been riding 32 years. I've never got hit.
Yeah.
Do I quit riding? And when I got hit, remember I told you, I go, oh, I'm out. I'm getting a car tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's a lot like junkies, I was saying, where after like 8 or 9 days, you're like, well, I could, like junkies, I can take one hit.
It's your lifestyle.
It's my lifestyle.
I mean, I want you to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, no, I want you to stop writing.
Right. It's so weird
because to me, you've beat the roulette wheel for so long.
Yeah.
That it's like, look, man, you've been playing with house money for a long time.
Most
bikers get in wrecks.
Everyone, let me tell you, there's probably 50 of my friends that ride.
Yeah.
Every one of them has been down multiple times,
yeah.
including Mike Beach from Sons of Anarchy, who came over a couple days ago. I got him back into riding. He's crashed twice since I've known him.
Yeah.
Once was a big boulder on the 10 that fell out of a landscape truck, and he hit it and flew off his bike. And the other one was he was coming too fast into a turn.
Yeah.
My point is LA, the weed smoking and the texting and the amount of traffic is just rad.
Well, that's what we're saying. Like, it used to, I'm sure as a person who rides, drunk drivers were a thing that kind of happened at night mostly.
Yeah.
But now, for real, so many people are high in their cars during the day.
Yep.
That it's just changed the makeup of, there's so many more accidents now, it seems like, on the freeways.
Oh, yeah.
During rush hour, because I think people are just wake and bake on the way to a job they hate.
Yeah, they wake and bake. They do.
Yeah, they wake up, they get high, they go to work.
The weirdest thing, Kev, was Friday. If you look at my Twitter feed, anybody look at it and go to Friday, which would be the 4th. Yeah, I think it's the 4th. I was going to Irvine Improv.
Yeah.
And I was splitting lanes, riding mellow, 3 in the afternoon, doing like 20, 30. And an SUV, black SUV, just switched left right in front of me, and I came inches from hitting him, and I somehow hit the brakes and slid around it on Friday. I pulled off. I was pretty fucking spooked, and I tweeted, been a long time since I've had that close of a call.
Yeah.
A long time. And it had been. It had been years since I'd have an actual close call.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, I get hit. So it was like twice in 1 week.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. We're not kids.
I know.
That's the thing. We're not kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's way, way less dangerous, but I want to skateboard all the time. There's all these skate parks, and it's like, man.
Yeah. I've never loved anything more than motorcycles.
That's the thing.
And now I love comedy more than motorcycles.
It's your thing. It's like, you gotta.
Yeah.
You kind of can't. I don't know if you can have both in the same way anymore.
Yeah.
Also, you got to take into account the way you'll be able to ride now, having been in a wreck. You may ride different.
Yeah.
You're for sure going to ride different.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means you'll be safer or less safe. I have no idea.
Well, I've always been a safe rider. I don't drink and I don't smoke. And
Yeah.
I've been riding 32 years in snow and heat and wind and sandstorms. And there's many a close calls, but none that had ever been like, whoa, you know? But this is what they always say. It's not you, it's the other people.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
This was a perfect storm, a carjacking.
A guy on a bike has to be super focused to not wreck. So it's not them. It's that, the people around. I've fallen victim to this too, where like I don't see a bike sometimes, and it comes out of nowhere, and maybe I've gotten too close. I try to pay attention because I have so many friends who ride or whatever, but it's them. But yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. I'd like it. I would pick. It's hard to tell you to stop because you love it so much, but it's like I'd like it if you were just like a Sunday dude, which I know is total ropes. Yeah. But like
I'm 1 foot in or 1 foot out. I mean both feet in and both,
Yeah, but I don't. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
you hate to see someone like give it up completely.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, dude,
it's pretty rough, man. It's
bodies don't heal the same way.
Oh, I'm fucked right now. Hey, we're talking like it's normal, but I'm about 30%. But when you've been so beat up, the 30% makes you feel like heaven.
Yeah, it's like when you're sick, that first day you're even less sick. You're like, I feel good.
I know. That's
just
what's
like
going on right today, right? And I still got a couple weeks. Like my ribs, I can't move my ribs.
Yeah.
Like my right side right here. Like if I lift it up, like I told you, I sneezed this morning.
Yeah.
And I almost started crying.
Yeah.
Because it just completely blew my ribs.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank everybody for all the tweets and the emails. They're unbelievable. And the love, that's what's amazing. The love that's come from everybody.
People have been tweeting at me, hey man, it's cool that you were there.
Yeah, Kevin. And man, it's just like, it's unreal, dude, that it was you. It was so great that you were there.
No, I was so lucky. Because, dude, it would have been lame to just be like,
by yourself.
You and the paramedics. I mean, maybe you would have been.
It's lonely, man.
Yeah.
Like, I got to tell people, like, I love being alone and single. And I always say it, and I talk about it on the podcast. But I don't have family out here. My mom lives in Florida, and the rest of my family's pretty much gone.
Yeah.
They're all passed away.
Yeah.
And when you're laying in that bed, and if you don't have emails and like when you guys would come by the house and talk to me, man, it's like people say, go visit your friends in the hospital.
Yeah.
That's a drug. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And you're not sitting there going like, what happened?
Yeah.
One thing,
stuck.
I'll tell you one thing though. As I was going down, I go, okay, this is it. I seriously thought for 1 minute, this is it.
Yeah, that's what you told me. You said, as I was rolling, you were like, she's going to run me over. It's over.
I'm like, this is it. And I really had that much amount of time. And then I realized, as cheesy as this sounds, I was like, man, no regrets.
Huh.
No regrets in my life. Like, right there. Because when people, if they live something through that, they go, well, from now on, I'm going to do this. And but I was already doing everything I loved, comedy and living my life.
Yeah.
So there's nothing going to be changed, except for try to get even funnier.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do is get funnier now.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to pay more attention to my side view mirrors. Just like change lanes slowly. Stay away from the 110.
Oh, my God. That's pretty bro. Well, thank you, dude. And
no worries,
and once again, like I said, everybody, thank you. And your emails and tweets were just unbelievable. And, thanks for tuning in today. Episode 200, man. So great. I started this thing 4 years ago. I'm at 200.
Wow.
And I love all you guys. And sit back and enjoy the episode. All right, so there it is, the motorcycle explanation. Thanks for Kevin to come by. Like I said, it is episode 200. let's get into my incredible guest today. You like Queens of the Stone Age, Perfect Circle, Failure, Sweethead. This guy has played with everyone. He is a fantastic human. Troy Van Leeuwen. I want you guys to sit back, enjoy this episode, man. It was so much fun to do. It was the first episode I did since the crash, and it was fun to have him over because I could get out of bed finally and interview someone. Light the candles. Thanks for tuning in, guys. All right, here we are, another episode of Let There Be Talk. Got a great guest today. Introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Troy Van Leeuwen. I will just say the American pronunciation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, if you have one of those names that people go, how do you say it? You know,
Trust me, my whole life.
like Josh, I never knew how to say his last name, you know. You know, everybody said it different, right?
Yeah, they all do. Yeah.
It's incredible. You're playing Queens of the Stone Age now, obviously, but we don't know each other, but I guess we were at a party a few weeks ago, and we found out that we probably do know each other from back in the day.
Yes, back in probably early 90s.
You played in a band?
I played in a band called the Hoodwinks.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That would play at the Mint and like the Kibitz Room and Raji's and like every club that I liked to go to, you know. So yeah,
Smalls.
Smalls. I think we played Smalls. I mean, just about everywhere.
Kind of that Dave Cerno.
Dave Cerno managed our band. Yeah.
Yeah. Right, there you go. You know, what's funny is Dave Cerno is he's an old friend of mine, and he, of course, was helped me and introduced me to Jacob Dylan back way a million years ago.
Yep.
But now I do comedy, and Marilyn Rice Cub was his girlfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy. So it's weird how this town works, right?
It is, yeah.
So the Hoodwink, you grew up in L.A.?
I grew up just outside of Long Beach, Lakewood, California.
Oh, wow, badass.
Yeah.
And of course, what band is it now? Everybody I ask, it's either Kiss or Zeppelin.
Well, it's funny, you know, I discovered Kiss first.
Right.
But in the long haul, it's been Zeppelin for me. You know?
Yeah, it could be the greatest band of all time, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I just, you know, I played drums first.
Really?
Yeah. I was
so you
drummer.
play everything.
I can be the jack of all trades if I put my mind to it. But drums has always been the biggest challenge for me because I get impatient with like doing the ambidextrous thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like I got to that point with Zeppelin because when I heard Zeppelin, I was like, I'm definitely going to play music.
What
you know?
What age are you and what Well, record?
I was playing drums on at around 10, 11.
Wow.
And I heard when I heard the first Zeppelin record, I was like, I'm going to do something with music, you know. So I was playing drums at the time.
Who turned you on to that? Because when you walked in, we started talking turntables right away.
Yeah.
You said your dad was a mechanic. He had a badass setup in his garage.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, you know, my dad turned me on to Chuck Berry.
Right.
That's the first rock and roll I ever heard. And Jerry Lee Lewis. And, you know, I was fortunate enough to get a bunch of the singles that he bought when he was a kid just recently. So there's all this great 50s and 60s music that is just that I'm totally rediscovering again. And I remember hearing as a kid.
So was he like a cool dad, like in the garage, just like smoking cigarettes, drinking Coors? You know, there's that because everybody had a dad like that in their neighborhood.
Sure.
He just at night, the garage would be open. He'd have like 8 tracks going and smoking a cigarette, wrenching on the rod.
It was definitely in the garage and fixing either, you know, we always had great cars when we were kids.
Muscle cars
and trucks and our ski boat.
Yeah, oh, you had a ski boat.
We had a ski boat that was a race boat. It was a flat bottom with a 350 Chevy in it. So, you know, nowadays, you know, parents would think that you're abusing your kids because you're driving them on the lake with headers with no mufflers.
Yeah, just 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, just whoa,
maybe some Maharaji skis.
That's exactly what I said.
I love that, Rob. Maharaji skis.
Yeah, I was there, man.
How fucking dope were those, man?
So good.
I heard the guy's still around.
He probably is. His shop was in like Bellflower, California.
I
And we
tweeted
would-
a picture of a water ski.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh, my
and I
God.
said, "What a classic logo! I love this." And people
Yeah.
went, "That guy's still around."
Yep. I think if I'm not mistaken, Brad was the other company. Brad Skis that
Right.
were in Bellflower.
And then if you snow skied, it was Rosignol because
Yeah,
James
yeah.
Bond rocked him.
Yeah, of course. Which I didn't get into snow skiing until later, but
Yeah.
it was always about going to the lake, drinking beer, barbecuing, and playing and I got all the 8-tracks too from when we were kids too. So just playing Clearwater while cranking in the motorhome. And it's
Where were you, Big Bear?
We would go to Lake Mead a lot.
Oh yeah, Lake Mead.
Yeah, because my folks would want to go to Vegas, right? And leave us kids to sleep
Oh,
or sleep
70s style, right?
Totally. So
Like, you guys go to bed.
Go to bed so we can go play.
Yeah.
So that was what it was like. But it was actually my older brother who turned me on to Zeppelin.
Wow.
Because by that time my dad was like, "What's up with this 70s rock? It's devil music." He was kind of that. He didn't really.
What'd your dad do?
What's that?
What'd your dad do?
He was a mechanic and did auto body work. Like him and my grandpa and his uncle, they ran a shop in Artesia, California.
They had their own shop?
Yeah, it was called the Van Leeuwen Garage. Yeah.
Wow, that's
And
like
it was
I
like-
love that. It's like blue collar, just
Totally-
California.
Yeah, yeah. And my brother, he definitely went down that path of like being like into cars and engines and just rebuilding everything. I was gonna do all the paint and body work when I was a kid. That was gonna be my
Yeah.
If I was gonna jump into the business, I was
Artistic
gonna do that.
side.
Yeah. But I just got into music and it was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
Does your brother still do that stuff?
He does. He's actually working on. I have a '67 Cadillac Coupe de Ville that he's doing a little bit of body work on, and of course he's cursing and swearing, and we're drinking beer, and he's like, "Who worked on this thing, man? I'm gonna fucking kill him." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure I should have brought it to you first, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's still in it, But
So you get into drums.
so I got into drums.
You remember
then
your first kit?
It was a Crown. It was a gold sparkle Crown drum set. Because I was into Bonham, and that first record or the first tours he did, he had like a glitter. I think it was a
The
Ludwig.
green sparkle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But mine was gold, and the wall that I hit with drums is learning how to do that triplet, like on the kick drum. I was like,
yeah.
I don't know how the hell he's doing that.
I don't think anybody does.
I think people like John Theodore know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I couldn't do it. I was like, and I got really like frustrated.
So you quit drums and you say,
Yeah,
I'm going to do
basically-
guitar.
Basically, I guess I can go into this. I went and visited some cousins up in Oregon, and they had a guitar. They taught me a song. I think it was Wild River Rose, or is it a Johnny Cash song? I think that's what it was.
Right.
I'm blanking right now. But anyways, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. It's another feather in my cap of doing music. But then I was like, I want to take some lessons. And then my guitar teacher was Rusty Anderson. Do you know who he is?
Right. Who is that?
Rusty, he plays with Paul McCartney now.
Oh, wow. Oh, he's the guitar player?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what he looks like. I know the bass player and the drummer.
Yeah. Rusty is kind of like he looks kind of like I do. He's got dark hair,
Yeah.
tall and skinny,
He's in McCartney
He's
now.
in McCartney now. But he was there and he turned me on to some great music. He turned me on to Adrian Blue and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
This is early on?
Early on, yeah.
So when you're taking lessons, is he one of those bogus teachers where here just play these chords so he can just
Not
play?
at all.
Oh, good.
I mean, I wanted to learn some technique.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn how to play classical stuff if I wanted to, and finger picking, and he actually, he could chart stuff out like he's no joke.
And he was teaching you that
Yeah.
shit? How old are you?
I was probably 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Junior high?
Yeah, junior high. And then he left. I think it was Cerritos Music or something.
Yeah.
And he left, and I was like, and I think the next guy I hated. I was like, so I just started listening to records and learning how to play that way after
Yeah.
that. So the rest of my teachers were definitely, you know, Zeppelin and Angus Young and Tony Iommi, and then
Nugent. You into Nugent at the time?
never really got super into.
How old are you? 40? 40 something? How old are you?
I'm old enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 49.
You're 49.
Yeah. So
You
I'm just
look
trying.
like a day over 43.
I'm just trying to figure out the era because
It was. I'm gonna say 81, 80.
Oh yeah.
81.
Oh, so you got Randy Rhoads.
Yeah.
Are you into? Are you into Eddie? Fair warning.
I mean, everyone loved Eddie back then. I mean, he's like, I was just thinking about him today.
Yeah.
Like, I think I heard like "Dance the Night Away" today or
Yep.
something. It's a really great song, a great pop song, you know.
Yeah.
And all the harmonic stuff he's doing, it's like sounds like
man.
keyboards. Really, way ahead. Yeah. I was into those guys for sure. You know.
Yeah. So you're playing and you get up going. Some guys, I figured you probably picked it up pretty quick because you play like pedal steel. You can play keyboards. You said you started on drums.
Yeah.
There's guys like that. They get up and running and boom, they're in bands and stuff. So do you get in a cover band? What are you doing?
Yeah, you know, I just play with friends in high school and just kind of dick around. And then, you know, once high school's over, you know, I basically moved right out, you know.
Wow.
Because my folks, because, you know, the garage, you know, business went under because of, I mean, it wasn't like it was slow or anything. It was just the town where it was located, there was a lot of, it didn't look good because it was built in the 40s.
Right.
It was like tin shacks, you know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like all corrugated steel.
I love that shit.
I know. Like
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
people would want to take
Yeah.
their car there because
Yeah.
it's so that thing. It's an OG garage, you know. But it's like my dad got kind of kicked out of the city, you know.
Oh, wow.
You know, because people were like building new like
They're like, it's
track
dirty.
houses.
It's dirty shit.
Dirty.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to either like put some money into it and fix it up, or you got to get out. So that my dad was like, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
So they moved to the desert.
Oh, wow.
My folks did, yeah.
Out there, Palm Desert.
It was more like towards Barstow, Apple Valley.
Oh,
is
I
where
got you out there on the way to Vegas.
Yeah, on the way to Vegas. So I decided to stick around, you know, this area and move to Hollywood.
Yeah, and now what era are we talking?
Like 88.
Yeah.
Yeah.
88. So we're talking GNR explosion right
yeah,
there.
this is just after like
Appetite, Jane's Addiction.
Jane's Addiction I was way into, and then I got into that kind of alternative stuff like Love and Rockets and Bauhaus.
Yeah.
I used to go to this club called Scream downtown.
Oh, I love
which
Scream. Yeah.
Was like when the first time I went to Scream, it was underground. It would cost $2 to get in.
Yeah.
And you could drink, you know, if you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
underage. It was pretty rad.
I love both sides. I
Yeah.
love the GNR, but then I was
Yeah.
into like Gene Loves Jezebel.
Yeah.
Remember that little bit
I
of
do. I
heartache?
do, yeah.
That shit. Jane's was blowing my mind.
Jane's was like on fire back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like our LA. Like, it was like either you were, you know, you didn't have to pick between the two. Guns and Jane's were kind of doing stuff at the same
It
time.
was all the same.
But it was like those were the big LA like bands that broke some rules.
Yeah.
and made some.
And
made
what
some noise.
what band do you start rolling first?
Well, basically, I came out here with a friend of mine. His name is Mark Lane. He was in the Hoodwinks.
Hoodwinks. What style was the Hoodwinks? Were they like
It was really kind of.
singer
It
songwriter?
was definitely like Randy Newman was a big influence, and
Right.
Tom Waits, and
Oh yeah.
and there was some T-Rex in there too. It was kind of like a.
It was
and
a
the
great
Replacements,
scene back
too.
then,
Yeah, it was-
right?
Everyone was. We were all into the Replacements, and
I love the original Mint where we played
Yeah.
in the corner.
Yeah, that's what
That
I'm
guy
talking-
Jed owned
Jed
it.
owned it. Yeah,
And we would just go in and you would just kind of creep down the side and then you
Yeah.
played in the corner. Then all of a sudden, a few years later, they opened the other side. They got a recording studio.
Yeah.
Jeb's gone, you
I
know?
know, which was a bummer. I loved it back then.
Me
It
too.
was like a dive.
It
back
was.
then, and I loved it, man. It was cool. But yeah, I mean, we had a couple of different names for our band, you know. So finally, we settled on Hoodwinks. So back then, we were like making 4-track demos
Yeah.
in our rehearsal space and passing out cassettes and
Aaron Jacobus, guys like that.
yeah, totally. And then Cerno, like, he came along, and I don't know if it was his cousin or somebody he knew that worked at Virgin.
That was it. That was Aaron Jacobus.
That was Aaron.
Yeah, he signed Soundgarden.
Yes,
got fired. He also worked with Lenny Kravitz and shit. Yeah, he got us our deal.
Yeah,
they had like Enigma was part of them or something.
Enigma, yeah. But we made like 2 records worth of like
demos.
Same
there. With us, yeah. And they're like each one was like $5,000.
Dude, all I know is that we would go in for 2 days and come out with 6 or 7 songs,
right?
Like mixed and done, you know.
That was back in the days of demo deals.
Yeah, basically they were demo deals.
Yeah, they were called. You'd sign. They would. They'd give you $5,000 or whatever. You go record,
and then you go and record in that with that Trident board in that cool little room back there on the lot.
And then you just sit and wait. Like, what do you think? They go, you got any more songs? It was so fucking bullshit, right?
It was
like, cut us loose.
It's like, or do something, or don't. I don't know. But
how about some notes? What are you looking for?
I know. But I think Cerno was kind of like, I'll just get you in there. You know, you want to record? We can record. You know?
Yeah. So you guys run the course, and then you hook up with Failure. How does this happen?
How that happens is, you know, we kind of ran a course, and you know, I was kind of playing with like a bunch of different people,
just kind of like a session dude.
Yeah, and I ended up doing a ton of sessions at the time too. You know, and you know, at one point, you know, I mean, I'm working at, you know, Rita Flora.
Oh yeah.
I worked there, you know, delivering food, you know, to all the movie studios during the day and playing with people at night. So I had this band called 60 Cycle that
60 Cycle Hum.
It wasn't. We came out as 60 Cycle Hum, but there were like 3 other bands.
Oh yeah. I got
so we just changed it to 60 Cycle, and then we were same thing. Tons of interest.
Yeah.
The first drummer in the band was Kelly though. Kelly Scott, who plays in Failure.
Yeah.
He was doing the same thing, playing with a ton of people, but his main gig was Failure. And so basically we played around and, you know, got a bunch of interest and then recorded a record, and then nobody did anything. Like no labels
never came out.
Nothing came out of it. The record got finished, and we printed up some vinyl and sold it at some shows and stuff like that, but it just nothing. You know? Again, nothing really panned out. And that's when, you know, I got the call for Failure. And
now, Failure, I remember seeing them. I was a huge Tool fan.
Yeah.
Early on, I saw Tool a lot of times. It's weird to me that Tool's still around.
Yeah.
I love them. I saw them about a year ago in San Diego. Fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
But what blows my mind about Tool is how long they've been a band.
Yeah.
You know, like I was seeing this band back when I drank.
Yeah.
Which was not, I haven't drank back, you know, I stopped like drinking in 92 or something.
Jeez,
you know, so like,
that's when kind of 91, 92 is when they first started.
Yeah, I remember the Opiate or whatever
EP,
I saw them. They played all over San Fran a lot.
Yeah.
And then they came back with Undertow. They headlined at the Transmission or the there's a killer club in San Fran. I forgot what it's called. They played there, but I think Failure was on it.
Yeah, that was right before I joined. Yeah.
Right, and then I started. There's that kind of scene, you know, that's coming. Of course, you got grunge, but then you have like Tool, Failure, kind of the Lollapalooza flavor starts hitting.
Yeah,
big time. And Steve Albini does their first record, which is incredible because that's coming off of him doing Nirvana.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, you're going like, oh,
actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was before he did Nirvana.
Oh, it was before. Right, so 92.
92 was when I think the first Failure record came out.
Wow. Yeah. So even before, but they do a couple records and then you join.
Yeah, I joined right when they just did the Fantastic Planet record was shelved again. Shelved for like a year.
Yeah, because Slash records lose their distribution.
Yeah, and then so it went through Warner, and then so it was right around that time when I joined.
They did that record at Lita Ford's house.
Yeah,
it's so fucking
in La Cañada.
Isn't that crazy?
I was there I was just hanging out, you know.
Yeah,
I didn't play on the record, but I was just so into it I was way into the band.
Yeah.
And Kelly and I were, were friends, and still are. But it was just funny. I would just hang around and just check out what was going on, how they were doing it. This is when I started getting into like actual recording and like the process and all that stuff. But it was cool. I was like, what is going to happen with this thing?
Yeah.
And so for a minute, when I joined, we had some things happening,
Well, alternative music rock was like so big, you know?
Yeah.
And it really had like it was like a weird blend. It was like Blind Melon, but then it was Failure.
Yeah.
It was
like
Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, like Deftones and Nine Inch Nails.
It was all over the board. They just kind of threw it. It's alternative rock.
It's alternative rock.
It's kind of like what they do with comedy. It's alt comedy, and it's like, what do you mean alt comedy?
Alt comedy.
You know what I mean? Anything they want to try to label,
Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty. That was. I actually liked that about the term alternative at first because it meant The Cure and it meant Nirvana at one point and Jane's Addiction and like all these.
Lollapaloozas. The early ones were unbelievable.
Yeah, they were.
Like I remember an epic one I was at. It was Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Ice Cube. Ministry. I think it was the headliner was a Chili Peppers or some. I forget who the headliner was, but you're like, look at these bills.
I know.
Shit that'd been going on in Europe for years.
Body Count would do.
Body Count, yeah. Yeah, that stuff. And then they'd have a side stage, and they'd Jim Rose Side Circus, and everybody had a piercing and a fucking tribal tattoo.
Yeah.
It was like a whole weird thing, right?
Yeah.
God, man. So you get in Failure, and you guys go out on the road.
Out on the road, and we hook up with a bunch of great bands, and we're getting, MTV play and K-Rock play and all the stuff that you're like, oh, okay, here we go,
Yeah, you're in the machine.
Yeah, you're in the machine. You're like in there, and then it's so hard to say what happens, because something happened and all that started going away.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
I think there was a tour we were scheduled to do with Stone Temple Pilots because I guess Scott had been coming to see some of our shows, and they were big. They were huge at the time.
Huge, yeah.
And so we were like, okay, we're going to do this tour, and of course, there was some drug problems in our band.
Yep.
And there was some drug problems in his band.
Of course. Now, is it? It seems to me the drug problems always means heroin. It doesn't. It's funny.
I used to call it the back problem. His back is really, really hurting, man. He's in bed.
His back's really hurting. I was talking to people about the ground zero of heroin. It seems to hit. It comes in G&R Janes.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's just fucking everywhere for about 7 years.
Trust me, yeah. I mean, I was lucky enough to not, go down that road.
Were you fucking around like? See, I never liked needles. I loved coke, and I liked to be up and booze and.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do just I'll do anything.
Yeah.
Once I'll try something, but it's just like I'm more like. I don't know. I guess I'm lucky because I've always been like I can't let it get in the way of my music.
Yeah.
And so I've been fortunate to, I drink, I do whatever's around. But
Absolutely.
I always want to get up and make sure that I'm on top of my game.
Yeah.
Because, rock and roll is something that people, they think about, oh, you're just, this dude who gets to fucking fuck off.
Yeah.
And that's not true at all.
Well, it's amazing. I just had
my ass off.
I had a conversation with a guy last night, and I said, "There's the rock dummy, in the band, and as you hang out with really great players, like when we were hanging out, there were some great players
Absolutely.
there, and you realize." Some of these guys, like the guys you play with, are some of my all-time favorite people on the planet. So you realize, you go, look, these guys know how to party in a way of like Hunter S. Thompson.
Sure.
Experiment, push it to the limit, but don't let it get in the way of the project.
Yeah.
You have to do all kinds of stuff to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and enjoying the ride, I mean, it's not always enjoyable, no matter if you're sober or not. It's never easy.
It's never easy.
What you do is not fucking easy.
Yeah,
and I know what I do is not easy.
Playing music as an adult is 100% impossible.
It pretty much is.
100% impossible in 2015.
Yeah.
I played music 25 years, and I say it over and over. This one guy goes, every time you say you played music 25 years, I take a drink, and I'm pretty drunk by the end of the podcast. But I always say that because I think about it now, like, if I was 22 right now, would I play rock and roll? Fuck no. Not like when you're young, you're like, we can play all these clubs.
Yeah.
We're bulletproof.
Yeah.
Everybody, let's jump in the van and rock.
That's what you do when you're 22. You jump in the van, and that you're still taking chances, but the truth is you're able to just jump in a van and go with your friends and learn, or at least learn the business.
You got to learn.
Yeah.
The road is where you learn rock and roll.
Yeah, because you don't, people can play really good in their bedroom all day long.
Yeah. Oh, I see the Guitar Center guys all day long.
I know, man. It's just,
they get in a band. They have no idea how to groove. They've never played with real drums. So they're like, oh, shit, what's going on here? The bass player's pushing a little or the drummer, whatever. Yeah. So you get out there and you become a fucking band. Yeah. And then maybe you get a record deal. And then you're touring with big shit. And then, rock's not designed to go past 30.
Yeah, most of the time
you know?
Not, yeah.
So failure just falls apart because of drugs.
Basically, I mean, you mentioned Lollapalooza. We did 1997, and like I'm looking at right there, and Devo were headlining.
Unbelievable.
Devo, like Tool.
Yeah.
Of course, we were friends with Tool, and they took us under their wing a bunch. And Snoop Dogg, and Tricky, and like all these great acts.
Just killer, just like so weird blend.
And then I think Korn were on it, and then literally the day we came out, because we joined like maybe a quarter of the way of the tour. It was back then. It was a full touring circus.
Oh yeah, hell yeah!
We went to every city, every shed,
and bands would split. Some bands would do the first 10 days.
So Korn, I think one of their guys got ill or something, so they bailed right the day we jumped on the tour. So they didn't have another band to be. We were like headlining the second stage,
right?
So they didn't have another band to go on the main stage. So we decided, and this was an idea that we had. We'll open up the main stage, and we'll close the second stage. So we played 2 gigs a day.
That's dope.
For like 6 weeks.
That is so great.
It was rad.
And they let you do that.
They let us do it because they were kind of in a pinch because Korn, they just basically pulled out,
Yeah.
And so we were doing that, and that was the last tour we did. By the end of the last show, I think it was like, what's that venue? Just a Shoreline.
Yeah.
That was the last show we did, the second stage, and then that was it.
And then wheels fell off from drugs.
We basically, it was just that thing that was getting in the way of communication,
It's really weird about being a junkie on the road is the endurance of you got to find drugs every day.
Yeah.
That is so weird. Like my friends were junkies.
Yeah.
I had them on the podcast, and they tell one of the most brutal stories ever. They're in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And they're out of junk. And Baltimore is one of the gnarliest cities.
Yep.
And here's a couple hippie jam band.
Yep.
And they're in a bar getting sick. And some kid goes, I can get you some stuff. Wielded them into these projects. They beat them down.
Yep.
And fucked them up. And now here they are, broken noses. One guy had a wallet chain.
Yeah.
They couldn't get his chain up. They took his pants. So he's walking back to the venue naked and dope sick.
Oh,
and you're
that's
thinking,
that is so heroin.
Yeah, right? And it's just kind of like, all you're thinking is like, when do you tap out? You know, like this party is done.
Party is over. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was rough, you know. But,
yeah,
but you know, that it happens.
So you get home, you're no band. You're no
I'm
band.
Nothing. Yeah.
And you're sitting around in L.A.
Well, basically, I decided at that point I'm gonna, you know, try a few things. You know, I wanted to put together a band. I always have a band. You know, I always have players that I want to play with. I put together this band called Enemy, which was just a trio, and I decided I wanted to try and sing and play guitar. Outside of that, you know, we did the same thing again. Got back on the wheel.
Yeah. Are you working jobs again?
Well, I was fortunate enough to know a couple of producers that allowed me to work in the studio with them. So,
but I mean, after failure, you're on a tour of Lollapalooza. Now you're home. You got to work a day gig.
I kind of did. Yeah.
Yeah.
At first.
Yep.
At first, but then like I said, I was lucky enough to. Well, it's still a day gig, but you're in the studio.
Yeah.
You're in your own environment, and so I would like be the ghost player for certain records, you know.
Oh yeah, like I get you now. So you're just doing shit for guys that aren't that good.
Kinda, yeah. And then also learning how to run Pro Tools, because that's
for vocals.
Just recording. People were starting to just use tape machines.
Yeah.
Just all in the box, you know.
Whose records you play on? Can you mention it or no?
I think. Actually, I am credited on. I think there's a band called Dead Z.
Oh, Dead Sea, yeah.
Elijah Blue.
Yeah, Elijah.
Yeah. I played on the Orgy.
That's the Cher son, right?
Yeah, I played on Orgy.
Louis' band.
Yep.
Or what's his name? I know him as Louis. I grew up with him, Louis, the singer, Jay. Yeah, he was Louis. He grew up in San Fran.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Louis Gordon or Jay Gordon, whatever.
Basically, I the guy who produced those records, his name was Josh Abraham.
Yeah.
So I worked with him.
Yeah, I know Josh.
Yeah. So any record that he worked on, he took me along, and we, you know, I cut my teeth in the studio.
Well, that's cool, because that's kind of those records didn't sell a lot, but they were they had their own scene.
They definitely did, those two for sure. I mean, they had some interesting, you know.
That one kid managed him with the cane, the club guy.
Yeah.
Josh.
I forget his last name.
Yeah. Josh Richmond or
maybe that's him.
Yes, I forget his name. Yeah, he has the cane.
Yeah.
I think he directed a couple GNR videos.
He probably did.
He did. Man, that guy's been. He was also in River's Edge or something. You know.
I'm sure. Yeah, he was.
He was.
That's right.
But he was kind of the manager of that scene. You know.
Yeah. I know he worked with Elijah.
Yeah.
But yeah, those. So like Coal. I think I worked on Coal Chamber. You know, like all that kind of stuff. I learned how to cut samples, and you know, and anything that had to do with like recording, I was like eating up that information.
Well, that's good too, because those records, if you're not even into that music, they really created a sound of kind of like it's post alternative rock. I guess they would call it modern rock, or what did they call it? They'd play it on like
they would call it like
K-rock.
Yeah, like
it's just K-rock music, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I guess some of that got lumped into that new metal.
Oh yeah, like Korn stuff like that.
Yeah, because they were all on the same
Family Values
tour and all that. Like they were all managed by the same. At the end of the day, I think they all got managed by this company called The Firm.
Right, yeah. Peter Katzis. Yeah. Katzis is crazy.
Yeah.
He's like 900 feet tall.
Yeah.
He's managing all those bands. But that guy rolled with Zeppelin back in the 70s.
Yeah, he's been around.
He was like friends with Page. And he's like, I used to take photos of him on tour. This guy in his garage had photos of Zeppelin.
I didn't know that.
He still has them right now. I begged him for photos. Come by. But, you know, Cats is never paying attention.
Of course.
But this guy has like L.A. Form fucking photos of Zeppelin that'll make your head spin. And I was like, I got to have these, man.
Wow.
Like, I'm a Zepp freak. You can tell.
See, I love that. I love that.
Anyway, a little Zeppelin sidetrack, because I can always get sidetracked on Zeppelin. It's so fucking great. So now you get a call from Perfect Circle.
Well, it's funny because as I'm like, working on these records and I got my band Enemy, and
What was Enemy Sound?
it was very much, it was kind of like in that same sort of hard rock, whatever, it was in the same vein as like, Failure and Tool but it was
heavy.
It was heavier. Yeah. It was definitely like Helmet were a big influence.
Oh, Page was great, right?
Yeah.
So that's another band that was in that scene.
Yeah. No, you're right. That's right.
Yeah. Helmet, man.
And then in Nails too. I was really into Nails as well. 9 Inch Nails. But, while I'm, doing these records with these guys late at night, I would, I'd bring in my guys and record Enemy stuff.
Up there, were you in like Nichols Canyon at that house there?
No.
What was that? You ever go to that studio? It was like, I thought that's where Josh worked.
I know he worked up there.
Yeah, it was like this concrete mansion, and they just do records in there.
We would do stuff. I would do stuff at NRG.
Oh yeah, Energy. Yeah,
NRG and Westlake. There was this studio that I did a lot of stuff out. A lot of stuff at NRG, but there was this great studio that's still around called Stag Street, where I've done tons of recordings there. But we would just, and then I would dump everything in Pro Tools and sing it at home,
Yeah. How great is that? Because you could just really perfect the vocal.
Yeah. Without anyone around.
Yeah. I mean, it's a kind of a bummer because it just sounds perfect.
Yeah, I mean that I never allowed myself to go down the autotune road too far. It's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, if you got a great take and there's a flat note,
just fix it because you got the energy.
Yeah. But like right now, I kind of don't give a shit about that anymore.
Yeah,
I like wrong notes and mistakes.
I hear wrong notes all the time. It's so funny because that's also the era of Pro Tools and Auto-Tune when it really starts to come in. We're not talking about the share where they're putting on it as an effect. We're talking about straight up guys like Third Eye Blind that could not sing.
Couldn't sing. Yeah,
they come in and they just go like, and then he just.
Wow, you're really fucking nailing that, man. Good.
And then he just leaves and goes and has sushi while the guy and the Pro Tools
just
is
fix
so
it.
slow.
Hey, I'll be back. Go fix it on the.
Fix that. I sound amazing.
Yep,
but a lot of guys slipped in because they didn't have to sing anymore.
Yeah, and then I mean, it's like where are they now? I don't know.
Oh yeah,
but fuck all that. My thing was like, just about learning how to use the technology because I knew it was going to be something that everybody's going to have to deal with.
Yeah. And once you know it. It's another key in your fucking,
Yeah, and you can forget about it,
You don't have to be worried either, like, oh, I don't know this stuff. Like a lot of guys, 70s and 60s dudes, even comedians, let's say now, and musicians, they're like, yeah, I don't understand all that Twitter shit and stuff. It's like, well, you got to understand it.
I know.
That's just how there is. I'm 49. You think I want to fucking sit around and tweet?
I know.
It's just part of the fucking
Can you
biz.
imagine when we were kids, like going, oh, dude, you should probably do that. And it's like, fuck you.
Yeah, right?
Fuck you. I'm not doing that.
It's like,
but
no,
now
what?
I am.
Yeah. It's like I'm rock and roll.
Yeah.
So Perfect Circle.
Perfect Circle, basically, Billy called me because, because of my experience with being on tour with Tool and Failure, and Ken, I guess, recommended me to him about this project.
Yeah,
that he was kind of doing this sort of the same thing. He was working for Guns N' Roses at the time.
Oh, he was.
Yeah,
well, he was a tech.
Yeah, he was I think he played bass, but he was definitely running the Pro Tools.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha.
So they'd be out at that studio, I forget what it's called.
Doing the Illusions records?
No.
Oh, after that, working on the Chinese
that one.
20-year, okay.
Yeah. And so Freeze was playing on it too.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's kind of where that sort of came together, 99, probably around there.
When you hear Perfect Circle, you just, because when I first hear about it, I think, oh, it's just going to be a project.
Right.
The guy's got some songs. Maynard's going to sing on it.
Yep.
And this thing fucking explodes.
It was gnarly, yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. Right. And the live show was beyond.
Yeah, we were, I mean, the first, like, the great thing was this, you know, with the first tour we actually did was like a West Coast tour in a van before there was any record deal, before anything was happening.
Yeah.
So, and at the time, Freeze couldn't do the tour.
Oh, yeah.
And so a guy named Tim Alexander, who
From
plays in
Primus.
he's playing with us at the time.
Now, does Tim play the drum tracks, though?
He
On the record?
He
Right.
does one. He played on one song.
Okay, got
the
ya.
first song, The Hollow.
And Freeze can't do it. Is he in Devo or something at the time?
He's doing something. Yeah, it's probably Devo,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken. But so with the first tour we did is Enemy opening up.
Oh.
His band, which is called Laundry.
Oh, yeah,
Tim.
yeah. Oh, I forgot he had that side band.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then Perfect Circle. So it was kind of a cool like family tour. 2 vans, a
Yeah.
trailer, and like 14 people, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was really fun, and then so basically, you know, the record gets finished, and you know, the next tour we do is opening up for Nine Inch Nails on an arena tour,
Wow.
which is like, whoa. It was like it was the biggest crowds I've ever played in front of. And
Now, are you like, you know, you play on the record? You played
Yeah.
on the record? When you're making the record, are you thinking, oh shit, this stuff is, this shit is amazing? Or are you thinking like, yeah, this is good? You know what I mean? Because to me, I'm thinking like, well, Tool is the bomb.
Yeah.
They're not going to get bigger than Tool. You know, I'm thinking.
I literally thought I just liked the music, and it's an interesting art project. That's the way I looked at it.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't, you know, it's definitely, I mean, Maynard has such an undeniable voice that there's that element of
Yeah.
Tool, but nothing else. To me, it was like Cocteau Twins and The Cure,
Yeah.
with Maynard singing, you know, and then it would get there. The great thing that I always loved about Perfect Circle is the way it built, because it wasn't heavy until it was fucking heavy.
Right, right.
And it wasn't like just distorted guitars heavy. It was like the mood, the room got dark. you
Yeah.
know? So, but it wasn't, it built up to that, you know, and it was a real natural thing. And then we had Paz playing bass, which was a really, you know, to have a female in the band, it changes the dynamic to this, you know, I like it. I really
Yeah.
like having a female.
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
because when you have an energy of all dudes in the crowd,
You're gonna attract more dudes.
yeah,
And that's
especially
not sexy.
There was a time too where Lollapalooza almost turned into this frat thing.
I agree. Yeah.
Where it was these dicks and their tribal tattoos, and they were like, "Yeah, Pearl Jam," you know, and
Yeah.
it was really bizarre to me. All of a sudden, it just kind of changed. It was just dudes all over.
fucking dudes and just dudes,
Yeah, and
then more dudes.
yeah, it's dudes and then more dudes. And it's so funny because you're thinking like, this isn't like Slayer. It's not metal.
No,
So where are these dudes coming from?
they're looking for girls that aren't there.
Yeah, and also I think they're just trying to get out some bogus like college angst.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
I think that
that's probably. Yeah, you're right. That's how all those tours kind of ended up being, and that's why I think they probably stopped. I mean, I'm sure, like, you know, Perry is a smart dude, you know.
yeah,
And it's cool now because it's in Chicago for 3 days.
that's great.
And now it's in South America.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, that's killer.
which is great too. So it's still, I can see it. He's still trying to keep it, you know.
No,
fresh.
well, that's what I'm saying. When
Yeah.
he took it back,
Yeah.
then he was like, "Fuck you guys, I'm
Sure.
taking it back, and I'm actually handpicking these bands."
Yeah,
You know,
which is killer.
I think that Maynard could be, and it's funny because I don't really ever talk about it because I just forget because he doesn't play live enough.
Yeah,
But he could be one of the top 10 front guys of all time who's not in the front.
yeah, I know.
But what the guy does is blows my, like in Perfect Circle, he's just dressed as a woman.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
he had that wig and stuff.
At first, we thought we didn't. Here's a great story.
Yeah.
So, and this is, I'm just gonna go ahead and just drop this name because it's so rad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The first video that we did, was with David Fincher.
Oh my God, dude!
Okay?
You know what I mean?
So got that out of the way.
Yeah.
So he's going to direct a video, and he comes to our rehearsals, and we're just dressed how we're dressed, nothing fancy, and he's like, "I got it. I'm just going to shoot you guys like you're rehearsing in this warehouse, and it's going to be just what I do. It's going to be the way I treat the film, and like all this, Fight Club. It just was just." I just came out on DVD.
He's steaming on some because he used to do videos before Fight Club.
He did, yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. And so,
he did a Wallflowers video.
I'm sure
he did the famous one with the snapshots.
Yeah,
they took like 5,000 Polaroids and he put them together. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So basically, we set up in this Warner Brothers warehouse kind of like hangar thing, and I'm just in awe, because I'm a huge fan of his movies, Seven and Fight Club, and The Game too. So I'm just kind of just there, just dumbfounded by how cool it is. And then Maynard shows up, and he's got, because all the storyboards have him with no hair.
Oh yeah, right, of course, yeah.
And so he shows up, doesn't say a word to anybody, and that's why I love Maynard.
yeah.
He just breaks out the wig, puts it on, and then it's like, what's that? You're gonna wear that? Who
says that? Lynch? I mean, Fincher. I mean,
everybody's saying it,
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. This is happening, and so it's just, you could see everybody just kind of go, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Wait, is this going to work? And then it was too late. We took 7 days to shoot that video.
7 days to do a rock video.
It was so silly.
Now,
but I love the video. It turned out so fucking rad. And it's one of those things where I'm like, I got to work with David Fincher once.
Yeah. So he's wearing the wig.
Yeah.
And are you thinking like, well, he's just shooting this project in the foot?
I at first I was like, I don't know what the fuck.
I mean, because you got to think, we've got Maynard, who's one of the greatest guys ever from Tool, and now we're not going to be able to tell it's him. And Fincher's shooting the video. We're spending all this money.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I've been around Tool enough and Maynard enough to know that he's smarter than all of that second guessing kind of like, we don't get to, because he would not want to be exploited,
Yeah.
That would ruin everything for him, So I knew it, in the long game, all that kind of stuff wouldn't matter, and of course it didn't.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, pretty rad,
pretty amazing.
And then now, while you're doing this, you get the offer to audition for Queens.
Well, what's happening, here's how that kind of happened. So we do the first whole tour of Perfect Circle, and
it's supposed to just be like a one-off project, right?
Well, at that point, no. And at that point, I know that, I mean, of course I'm hearing Tool, recordings, backstage. He's starting to,
work Tool.
And I'm like, okay, it's going to be a while before we get back together. And it did. It took like a year or two. And so we had already started the second record. There's a lot of music that's already done, and we're just waiting for Maynard. And so in that waiting, I just started to get, of course, I got antsy,
Yeah. Downtime when you're playing in a guy's third or fourth project.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Maynard, he had like all these projects going.
Yeah. So for me, I was literally at first, because I'm a huge Queens fan at the time too.
Yeah. Rated R.
Rated R had come out, and I was
mind-boggling.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the first record too, and it's just one of those things that we would go see them on while we're on tour, and they would come see us. It was like a total both of our bands, we were like, we're doing something like on the same level.
Yeah. It was such a great. That's like a great scene starting to happen.
Yeah. So for me, I just I got the call from Josh, and it was actually on April Fool's Day. So I was like, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. But he's like,
So he calls you and he says,
calls me, he's
"Hey, are
like-
you still playing in Perfect Circle?"
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, but we're working on a next record. And he's like, well, are you available at all? And I'm like, actually, I am.
Yeah.
Because, and I mean, not even halfway, probably halfway done with the Perfect Circle record, but he's like, well, Dave Grohl is going to do,
The record.
some touring with us, and so the record comes out in August, and we're going to do some promotional touring, so why don't you come out with us? I'm like, yeah, fine, that sounds rad.
Yeah.
And so I didn't realize I'd be playing lap steel and keyboards and guitar,
Yeah, right.
but I had like a week to get ready. And
this is for the Songs for the Deaf record.
Songs for the Deaf, yeah.
At the time, I remember going to Conway, and they were recording there, and a buddy of mine brings me down. I'm a huge Chris Goss freak.
So am I.
And I had him on the show. I worship him. I think he's the king of the desert.
He is.
I never forgot. I went into Conway, and the tracking. There's a couple weird side rooms. There was some partying going on. It's midday.
Yeah.
There's some fierce partying going on.
Sure.
And there's I'm like, this is wild, man. It's like these guys are like, and I worshipped Rated R, so I'm freaking out. My buddy's like, we're gonna go hear the new shit.
Yeah.
And they open the door, and I hear Hanging Tree.
Yeah.
And Goss is sitting there, and it's Josh, and they're playing back Hanging Tree or something. And I'm like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah.
This fucking record.
Yeah.
Which later, to me, I think is the best record to come out in the last 15 years, from 2000 to now.
Right.
It's an absolute masterpiece.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you jump in after it's made.
Yeah, I mean, it reminded me a lot of, when I joined Failure, because it was another record that, it was just like something's going to happen with this. I can feel it.
Yeah. I saw the Virgin record store in San Fran.
Oh yeah.
And I
that was the first show I think Joey did.
Yeah, first show
with us.
Joey was in.
Yeah.
And I remember it like it was yesterday. It was one of the best shows I ever seen because Lanigan there was a side door, and Lanigan would just sit outside of the store, smoke cigarettes, then he'd come in, Hanging Tree, and then he'd walk out. But it was so fucking rock.
Yeah.
I was like, this band is the band. It was kind of giving me in my mind of like, I got to start getting out of music because you got to be playing with the right dudes. And these guys are just on such a different level.
I'm glad that did for you.
Yeah, you helped me out into the comedy. But you know what I'm saying? At that point, there's something so... I said between that and Jack's band, the Raconteurs or whatever, I said between that and Queens, it had to be... You and I didn't see Zeppelin.
No.
And after I see the band on that tour, I'm thinking, well, I don't need to see Zeppelin because this is our Zeppelin here. We're talking about dudes that are taking shit like the Mars Volta.
Yeah.
They're taking shit to another level.
Sure.
And instead of trying to live like, I miss Zeppelin, you go, yeah, you miss Zeppelin, but you saw the Mars Volta and you saw Queens of the Stone Age on the Songs for the Deaf tour,
Yeah, I think that's a great compliment, and
it's true.
I will take it for sure, but it's not. I just remember being there at that time, and it was it was this machine that was just on fire.
Yeah,
I remember burning, just feeling like something fucking crazy is happening. I didn't even know what it was. I couldn't put my thumb on it. I was just going with the wave,
Yeah.
So it was, but those shows. On that tour, I mean, there was stuff happening.
Well, when you have the main key of a great band is great songs, but danger.
It was,
And the danger of Lanigan and Nick and Josh together, you could feel chemicals and danger, and you could feel authenticity, and you were just going like, well, this is what a rock band is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it always felt like, well, if we burn to the ground tomorrow, who cares?
That's kind of what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was gigs where Josh was playing naked. Nick was playing naked, you know? You're like, what the fuck?
He was playing naked and playing a Dan Armstrong clear bass. Too.
Yeah. I mean, he played
I'd have
naked.
to like, oh, dude, look across the stage.
It's so funny because you always dress so sharp.
See, I'm on the opposite side of the stage.
Yeah,
wearing a suit and tie.
Yeah, and he's a skinny, like just
bearded, bald,
desert,
just, like
desert guy.
hood. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, it definitely was. It was odd, and like you couldn't write that. You couldn't make that band up.
No, you couldn't.
You couldn't just say, "Well, we're gonna have this." It just happened, and that's what I love about and that's the one thing about music. And you were saying earlier, like, you can't be a grown ass man and be playing music nowadays. It's stuff like that that you're like, I don't know. Is this right? Or what we doing? I fucking have no clue.
Yeah.
And you don't know until it's over, or until that moment is gone. What happened? Because
Yeah.
you're in it. You're like.
Well, that was a whirlwind. That record.
Yeah.
That was lightning in a bottle, and it absolutely created I mean, Josh, to me, I thought Rated R was one of the, I still think Rated R.
It's a great record.
It's a tough battle for me because Rated R is so fucking great and raw. But then that record, it just sealed him to me as like, well, he's the, like top 5 dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Him and Jack White, I keep saying over and over, they're the only people really doing all the interesting stuff. And the Kills, all this stuff, Dead Weather, all this John stuff that they're putting out is all great.
It's fucking great. Yeah, I'm a big fan of everything that Jack does, and I love the Kills. And it's like you mentioned Mars Volta earlier too. It's like, back when John was in the band, he was someone to watch.
Yeah,
he was a dude that, because we did a tour with Queens on the Songs for the Deaf tour, Queens and Mars Volta, and then the Chili Peppers headline. They picked us.
Wow.
And so Mars Volta came out and played 4 songs for 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, these guys are on some fucking shit.
Yeah.
And I loved that, the drive-in, too.
Yeah. But this was like, to me, it was like Santana Zeppelin punk rock.
Pretty much.
Crazy, right?
And then I would just watch John play, and I'm like, this guy's a fucking monster, man. And then, so I feel like there's things take time, and connections are made, and now we're playing with John. It's a weird,
it is weird.
It's like some of it's kind of fatalistic, and some of it you can't like write it. It's just timing. So I feel super lucky to be there for those moments, and then look back and go, oh my God, I was there. What the fuck was I doing? How did I get there?
Yeah.
So,
I think it must have been tough for Joey. Because I was a Joey fan right out of the gate. That gig at the Virgin, I was like, oh, this guy's a fucking monster. But it was really weird that I even think that the Grohl thing overshadowed Josh, which was strange to me. For a lot, people are like, "Oh, that's Grohl's thing." Like all these new people coming on board, which it helps and it hampers, But
over the years, the relationship that we've had with Grohl has been a good one.
Oh, absolutely.
And we share stuff. I mean, that's kind of the way it is. Over the years, it's like he's been there for us. He's always supported us. And the Foo Fighters are fucking huge.
Huge.
They're fucking huge.
They're huge.
And Dave is still Dave.
They're like Metallica big.
They are.
Forever now, which is awesome because you know how hard that is to build. He was a drummer in Nirvana.
I know.
You don't go like, oh, I'm the front man now, and then you become an arena act for fucking 20. You know how hard that is? It's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, and for he couldn't. We knew he couldn't tour with us forever. Back then. So when Joey came in, he saved the day because it was like how so many people were like, how are you going to replace Grohl?
Yeah,
and then we just Joey just stepped right up.
He was a pounder.
Yeah, still is. I mean, He's a fucking great drummer.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
He's intensely, like, to watch. He's another one where you watch him play and you're like, why aren't these drums just being, like, just disintegrating, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But
Was that a strange time when he got fired?
basically, it was one of the hardest parts of being in Queens, actually, because it was at a time when we were making the last record, and we prided ourselves on being this unstoppable band that could play its way through anything, and we weren't
Right.
on the last record. It was a struggle.
What happened? Like, does Josh something like they say he hurt his knee or something, and then you're like, oh well, he's on drugs, yeah, or whatever.
Well, there's always there's always a little truth in there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
which is why I love the band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It goes back to what you're saying, a backache.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I would definitely say it wasn't a backache.
Yeah.
There's if you watch this, we did this this DVD. God, it's been 10 years already. Over the years and through the woods, where he's walking around with a cane, because this is the kind of stuff that we would do. He would have knee surgery and then leave on tour the next day.
Oh yeah. He's like,
And
man,
because
I had
we know-
motorcycle crash and I go on stage.
Dude, we'll get into the motorcycle thing in a minute.
Yeah.
But, and so that's real.
Yeah.
And so over the years, and Josh he's a big guy.
Yeah, he is.
So when you're big and you're stomping around stage, bones they're gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
He broke his ankle on stage once, and then went on the road 3 days later. He's a tough motherfucker.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
So over the years, it's just like, and then of course if you want to get on stage, you're gonna need painkillers.
Yep.
Yeah. And then at a point, you just can't do that anymore, And so I think there's bits of that, but he's had a few injuries where he's had to be in the hospital, and things got serious, and then it kind of resets priorities, when that happens. That was in the middle of us making this record, so there was some second guessing and some vulnerability, that we've never really ever experienced.
Right.
And I think at the end of the day, it came out on the record, which I think
it's the greatest record in the fold.
Yeah, and I do too.
I mean, because I could see second guessing coming, because the ones after Era and the other one after, they don't sell as big. Of course, whatever, that's going to happen. Like who has that kind of luck? Of fucking Songs for the Deaf.
Yeah.
And so then by the time you're making like at Clockwork, you're like, man, is this the one? Are we going to tour this? Is this you know?
I mean, fortunately for Queens, over the past 10 years, of course, the record industry is just completely sunk.
Yeah.
And we were able to continue doing what we do by touring. And we've been getting in bigger and bigger, venues over the years.
Yep.
So that kept us totally ignoring like the record sales and all that stuff that just went sailing out the door when iPods came out.
Yeah.
Like, so we just stopped paying attention. But after doing like basically 12 years straight on the road.
Oh man. And loud music, and aggressive music
every night.
This isn't like you're not playing trucking.
Yeah,
you're going on.
No, you're bleeding ears and hands and knuckles and so taking that sort of time off, and then to get back on the horse. It just wasn't that easy.
Yeah. So you think the second guessing cost Joey the job?
I think there's
needed some fresh.
I think that there was frustration there, because I know Joey and I know Josh, and I think that it took us so long to make that record that at one point I know Joey got impatient.
Yeah,
and it was. I think it started showing up in his playing a little bit,
Yep.
But at the end of the day, those guys were,
Button heads.
Personality wise, I think more than anything. So that's just what happens, and that was, I remember the day really, really vividly, like, what the fuck are we going to do now? And then a week later, Dave Grohl's there, so,
oh man,
so
that's
it's just
great.
like, you're, and then part of you is like going, wait, Joey was in the band for 10 years, and like, it conjures up all this, like, what, confusion.
Yeah.
But
is this a band?
Yeah.
Are we hired guys?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff?
Well, not so much that. Just, it's rock and roll is a volatile, I guess what we call our version of rock and roll is very volatile, And when you look back and you say, oh, I was there, and I was in this moment, that was one of those moments where it's like things could have just collapsed.
Yeah.
They could have just ended, So in my position, I end up feeling really grateful and like, and like lucky, because it's not, not many people get that, that opportunity to be able to travel around and do their job as playing music.
Adults
to people that want to buy it,
Yeah.
So it's, right now and we played the other night at the Telegram Ballroom, and it was fun and cool. And I don't know if you made it out or not. But
I
couldn't.
I was in that motorcycle crash.
That thing. Yeah.
John Theodore. Here's how he hits you.
Yeah.
He's he like 40 minutes before. Oh,
bro, you
forgot to tell you, man. We're playing up the street. I go, well, dude, I'm laid out. You can't tell me 40 minutes before. He goes, you got time? I'm like, I would have went, actually.
Yeah.
I was destroyed, but I would have just done some painkillers and popped in there in a fucking minute, man. Are you kidding me? This is my favorite band, and they're playing a secret venue, and I'm like, he's hitting me. He might as well have hit me the next day.
I know. Dude, where were you?
I know. Bro, didn't I hit you? Yeah. You know him, man. He's just, there's guys like him that cruise through the world, and you go, how does this guy cruise through the world? You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's a struggle. Like, fuck, I got to go to the DMV today. To him, he's like, DMV, far out, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, right?
So glad that's not me, man.
Yeah, no shirt on, thongs. He's
thongs and just like, I just got back from the beach.
Sunset today, dude.
That's the cool thing about John. He's a surfer
in
so many ways. And,
I love him, man.
Even the way he plays is very
what a player, huh?
Very much like a surfer, just like taking the waves as they come, It's pretty amazing.
What are you guys doing? Were you rehearsing? You're getting ready to go on tour?
Well, we're basically doing one show in Rio. Next week.
Is that the Lollapalooza?
No, it's Rock in Rio.
Oh, Rock in Rio.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Well, that's so
never
great.
done it before, so I'm really looking forward to it.
$5 grams of cocaine.
Probably, yes.
Absolutely. And that's the tourist price, I heard. You don't want to go out after dark out there.
No,
man.
you don't. No, I've heard the stories, and we definitely, don't want to fuck around down there.
One show, and then that's
one show, and then we're gonna take. Well, here's what's happening. We're gonna take. Queens are gonna take a month off, and then we're gonna start writing, I believe, and we're just gonna get together and start playing.
First
nothing
record
recording.
with Theodore.
Yeah, he actually played one song on the last record, but this will be the first record with John. Jumping in with us.
I love that studio Josh has over there.
It's great, man.
What a cool spot.
It's a great spot. That we're gonna work in there and then play, and then we have a lot of songs that we didn't get to the last record. So we're just gonna start there and see what happens. Yeah,
because I read somewhere that the Like Clockwork started out as a different style of record, like it was going to be something different.
Well, I mean, you never know what you're gonna come out with. Yeah. I mean, we wanted to do it in the desert out at the Rancho.
Ooh.
And that's where we started it. And a lot of the songs, we almost finished out there. And then, of course, things happened. And then we took some more time off. And then when we got back together, we kind of scrapped it.
Wow.
We started over again,
Josh is a god to me. Like, you know, not in a way, like, to me, it's like Zach De La Rocha, Josh, Jack White,
Yeah.
Karen O.
Karen O's great too. Yeah.
Maynard. These guys that are like, you know.
Well,
like,
there's definitely a well, I'm not sure of the word, but there's a thing that it won't get past him. Like if it's not, I mean, it can't be good enough. It's got to be fucking great.
Well, I love that, man, because the high water mark has to be, like I said, I saw my Zeppelin, you know, and I saw Josh. When you think about, I saw Josh at Bottom of the Hill in Caius.
Right.
The first time I see him, he played those badass ovations.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to get one of those ovations, man. I'm down at Black Market Guitars looking for one. He had this tone, and I was like, who is that guy? You know? And then I see him on the Danzig tour, and I've been watching him my entire life.
Yeah.
And I just thank God that you guys are making music, you know?
Yeah, it's been a great thing for, you know, I mean, me and him being both guitar players, it's a fun trade-off, you know, because and we have Dean too.
Yeah, Dean.
And I never thought I'd be in a band that had 3 guitar players because
Skinnerd.
every time, you know, I'm like most guitar players. I want to be the only one, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like in our band we figure things out around each other, and it's a real cool.
Is it mentally, or is it actually plotted out like, hey, you play on this? And
It's basically everyone's listening.
yeah.
So, you know, if somebody has a thing and they're like, oh, that's cool, let me do something around that or across, you know. So it kind of opens up your mind to like not just being like everyone doubles each other.
Yeah. Well, it's very sonic landscape.
Yeah.
There's an incredible landscape, you know?
Yeah, so we've been able to figure out, you know, each other's thing, you know, and make it one big thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What before you get out, we were talking riding when you came in. So this is episode 200. It'll be out on Monday.
Oh yeah.
It's the first episode I've done since the motorcycle crash.
Crazy, man.
Yeah, and it's amazing to think about. Like you crashed, and you said your girl crashed.
Yeah.
And does Josh ride?
Yeah, he rides.
Does he still ride?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And where it's always that thing. Do you crash? Do you get up and keep riding? I compared it a lot to drug addicts over my many years of hanging out with people that were junkies. I've known guys that have OD'd, died, and then you go, well, that's going to be the end of them. They won't do it anymore. Right. And that's how I felt the first day of the crash. Yeah. Where I go, well, I'm not going to ride. You know, I don't have health care, and I got hit doing 70.
That's insane, man.
But while you're laying in bed, by the 7th or 8th day, you're going like, well, maybe just a cruise down Sunset. You know what I mean? And
I do.
I've been riding motorcycles 32 years, and I'm addicted to motorcycles. Yeah. My entire life is geared around motorcycles. I do 4 or 5 shows a night. I can get to them, no traffic. Sure. I love the freedom. I've been into motorcycles since Evel Knievel, Outlaw Motorcycle Clubs, Easy Rider, and everything. So it's strange feeling like you grew up in a hot rod family and stuff. It's weird, right?
Yeah, and I my experience was, and it wasn't even a big deal. I literally hit gravel at 25 miles per hour. Right, and it was after about a 6-hour ride. You know, all throughout Los Angeles. You know, cutting through lanes on the freeway. Yeah, no problems. Yep. And I get to literally 100 feet from my driveway, and I hit gravel because I lived near Malibu, out in kind of the mountains of Malibu for a little bit, and there's gravel all over the place. So I basically was coming around the corner and I slid and I broke my collarbone. Wow! And it was literally 3 weeks before we had to go play Glastonbury, and I still played. Yeah, I still went.
But as you're lying there, you realize your hands are your tools.
Yeah. The first day you're like, I'm never riding again. Yeah. And then a week later you're like, Yeah. Well, I kind of, maybe just around the block.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the next thing you know, it's like you're back up,
Yeah.
And so, but I do understand what you're saying because it is one of those things where, like, once that seed of doubt enters your head and you're on the bike, I think it's over.
Yeah, I don't really have that doubt. Like, I'm not scared at all.
Yeah.
My thing is like, well, I got lucky on that one.
Yeah.
And next time, and in this particular week, I had 2 close calls, which had been years since I had that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
Years. One was a Friday riding to Irvine Improv to do a set. I was just splitting lanes, and a guy in SUV just came over, and I locked him up. That was on the Friday, and I slid around the car magically somehow. And I pulled off over to the side of the road, and I tweeted, "Been years since I had a close call like that." Woo! And that woke me up.
Yeah.
Once in a while, you get one of those, and you just get your mind back in, and you start riding normal again. But then on the Monday when the crash happened, I was like twice in 1 week.
Yeah.
Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's for me, I don't really ride around Los Angeles anymore. It's just, I just feel like in the case of what you're describing, your accident, somebody wasn't paying attention to you.
Yeah.
And
somebody didn't give a fuck.
They didn't give a fuck, right?
Yeah.
And for me, the last times that I really enjoyed riding was we take our bikes behind the bus.
Oh, yeah. That's dope.
And so we get out on the open road, and there's nothing like that. So.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
You just put them in the bays?
There's basically a trailer that we get, it fits like 3 bikes and 3 motorcycles.
So who's riding? You, Josh, and who else?
John, too.
Oh, John. Oh, Theodore. Yeah, he had an FXR, got stolen.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So you guys get out there and get riding?
Yeah.
That's what Lenny Kravitz used to do.
Yeah. I mean, we went to Sturgis and played Sturgis and then rode around all day. It was pretty cool.
That's some fucking great shit, man.
Yeah. But that's how I prefer to do it now. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's...
But like a guy like you, I mean, is that your main vehicle? Like,
well, it's my only vehicle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I haven't had a car in 12 years. And not only that, but it's an absolute love to me.
Yeah.
But I question myself of, do I love? Like I said, I never loved anything more than motorcycles, and now I do love stand up more than motorcycles.
Yeah. Let's talk about stand up.
Yeah. Who do you like? Okay, so you had Burr open. Burr,
dude,
Burr just hit me.
I loved having him open because he went after our audience too. Which
he said there was a drunk woman going, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, it's awesome. He handled it so well. It was just like to me, there's a symbiotic relationship between stand-up and rock and roll.
Yeah. Which way I wanted to tell you one thing Burr said, which I agreed 100%, which is unbelievable. Burr is at the top of his game.
Yeah, he is.
He's one of the best comedians in the planet. And Burr said something great on his podcast on Thursday. He said, after seeing Queens of the Stone Age, I realize I need to get better as a comedian. Because in my art, I am not doing the full potential like they are. And that's another thing of like, you guys are Zeppelin,
That's why it takes someone like with that kind of, the way he handled our audience was so like awesome. And the way, and it just, for me, when you're playing, you have to have that kind of wit as well, because shit happens all the time.
Totally.
And we're not perfect. And then so if you're playing and something happens, you got to make up for it.
You got to
right there.
You got to,
And I have
adapt.
I have 4 of the guys on stage with me to help me,
Yeah, you break a string, you just fucking zoom you there.
But when you're up by yourself, it's fucking you and them, and that's it.
Yep.
And it's to me, that's inspiring.
So was the whole band watching?
Fuck yeah.
Josh got out there?
Totally, man. We were both on stage right, just fucking laughing our asses off. He was great, man.
Yeah.
He was fucking amazing. But yeah, I mean, of course, I love Hicks and I love
Bill
Carlin
Hicks.
and I like all the greats, Richard Pryor, and I like Marin too. Marin's fucking great.
Yep.
I mean, to be honest, I listened to comedy in the car more than I listen to music right now.
Yeah. I think you need to when you're driving around in this town.
Yeah, you do.
Because if you're cruising around listening to Slayer, South of Heaven, you're going to snap.
You're gonna kill someone.
You really are. And in my mind, I started thinking like, well, if I'm gonna get a car, I'm gonna get one with a primo AC and stereo, and you know, and I'm gonna listen to stuff in there, man, and take my time. Like, there's traffic. There's always going to be
Always
traffic.
will be, yeah.
It's not going away unless you want to live in the desert. So fuck it. Get a cool ride and put on some comedy,
dude,
or a great podcast.
I mean, either one of those. I mean, like, I'll just put on Raw Dog. You know, on the satellite. I mean, it's just perfect.
Who's your favorite?
It's hard to say.
You like CK?
I love CK too. I mean,
he's great.
He's intensely good. You know, it's funny. You know, I didn't know this. I met Steve Agee.
Oh yeah, I love him.
Years ago, and I didn't really see him do stand up until maybe, I don't know, maybe last year.
Yeah,
and he totally blew my mind.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my God, you're fucking great.
Oh yeah,
You know?
He and we do this show Baked.
Yeah,
with Brendan Smalls, and you know, you do comedy and then you sing a song, and we have the best time, man.
He's rad.
You go see live comedy?
I don't really know.
You got to get out.
I do. You're right. I do. I got to come see you
any night. I'll put you on the list. Come.
I think the last time I saw someone was Jeff Ross. He was at the Comedy Store one night, just really late.
Marin goes on at the store every night. Burr a lot every night.
Jeez, okay, I'm
there like 4 or 5 nights a week, and you just come down, and we'll get you a booth, and bring your lady and Josh and John Theodore and Dean, you know, and just come in and fucking laugh, dude.
You guys will fucking make fun of us. I know.
We never do that because we're always like, it's great to have cool people in here. You don't want to clown on them. That'd be ridiculous.
Ross, he almost came after me. It was funny.
Yeah. You always look great before you go. What's that about? Are you an old school? Are you into like Bowie? Like you wear suits and stuff? You look great.
I have to say, you know, I mean, Johnny Cash, of course. You know, I mean, I'll go back to growing up. You know, my dad loved music, played a lot. You know, and it wasn't just rock; it was country, like the real country music.
Yeah.
You know?
Hank Williams. Merle
Haggard, C.W. McCall, all that. You know, all the greats. Willie, Waylon. But Johnny Cash was being played all the time, and you know, it didn't really hit me till I got into like, of course, I love Bowie and the Thin White Duke era.
Yeah, me too. Love that.
But it was really when I first got into Nick Cave, where when the Bad Seeds, when Tender Prey came out, I was like, okay, now that's a fucking look. Like,
you're so
and
right.
you can do that and just play whatever the fuck you want.
Yep.
And you mean business.
Yeah, it's great, man. You look great.
Yeah, and so to me, it's always been like this. I mean, you know, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I'm wearing a uniform that says, I'm fucking doing this.
Absolutely.
So,
Nick Cave, what a god, right? Do You Love Me? Man, I saw Nick Cave on that era.
Is one of my favorites.
I saw him on that era in
me too.
I think it was the Paramount Theater in Oakland.
Yeah.
And it was like, what the? They had that one guy playing like giant rubber bands and shit. Remember that guy?
Yep.
I mean, between him and Tom Waits.
Tom Waits is another one. That I was
Bone Machine Tour I saw.
Yeah, me too.
This shit was, I mean, those guys are just.
It was really that sort of like, those guys who kind of, you know, was like, you don't have to like have a style.
Yeah.
You don't have to like do your, you know, or follow what people are wearing, you know.
I love
you
that.
Just wear this.
I always
wear
felt
this
like
all the time. It's classic, and you don't have to fuck around. You don't have to think about it either.
I love clothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm look at that pile of jackets right there.
I know, that's amazing.
I'm a fucking jacket freak. I love rock and roll clothing. But, you know, last night I was watching the Keith Richards movie, and Tom Waits is on.
Yeah.
And there he is. He's wearing, like, the classic selvage denim Levi jacket.
Yeah.
Selvage denim pants, a hat.
Yeah.
And he just, what era is he from? It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
And the guy just looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of.
Yeah, you look cool as fuck in the band.
That's just what I've always kind of said to myself. I'll just put this on, and then I don't have to think about it.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm actually, I was gonna say before I leave, I'm gonna do some touring with Failure.
Oh yeah, let's get into this.
Yeah,
here. When is it?
Well, it's right when I get home from Rio. I start rehearsals with them, and then all of October.
Wow, where are you guys going?
We're going throughout. I guess it's going to be some of the East Coast. So we'll start in Florida, make our way up to Brooklyn, come across, do like St. Louis and Albuquerque, and then go to like Arizona, and then some of the West Coast.
Wow, you playing L.A.?
Yeah.
Where at?
It's the Regent.
Oh, yeah. Hit me like 30 minutes before you go on.
I'm going to.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Because
my ribs hurt. I can't fucking laugh. This is the first day I can really talk and shit.
I know.
It's
I was
great.
gonna say. I mean, I'm not a comedian by any means at all.
Yeah.
But I feel bad for you, man.
It's
When I was in my wreck, the ribs are the thing.
It's
You
incredible.
can't laugh. I couldn't watch or listen to any comedy.
Yeah.
I had to. It was
Like-
depressing.
Well, Bird told me a funny story like 2 nights after. He ended up playing with Slash and Duff at some charity thing on Saturday.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then he called and told me a funny story. I don't want to give it away because I know it's going to be a new bit he'll do.
Good.
But when he told it to me, I was laying in bed and I started laughing and I was pissed.
You're like, "You're a dick."
I was like, you bastard. I'm laughing here, man. I was hurting, man.
Yeah.
Well, Failure, they got a website.
Yeah. I believe it's failureband.com. I don't know.
Cool, yeah. Just look it up. Go see
Yeah.
Failure, and then I think book your tickets to see him in Rio, Queens and Rio right now.
Yeah,
Just
go ahead.
Yeah,
Just jump on a plane.
Jump on a plane. Get
Yeah.
on a plane.
Yeah.
And then hopefully one day I'll get to see you guys soon because I
Yeah.
haven't seen. Well, no, I did see it with
Well,
you.
you
last time.
also you met Serena the other night.
Yeah.
So we have a band too.
Oh, what is it?
It's called Sweethead after a Bowie B-side.
Yeah.
But we just put out some. We have a record out already. It came out a couple of years ago. But
iTunes?
yeah, it's on iTunes.
Wow.
Just look up Sweethead. It's one word. But we just last Thursday released a bunch of it's a single for the next record coming out next year. But also some covers, like we did "Tired of Waiting" by the Kinks.
Oh, yeah.
We did a Love and Rockets song called "Life in Laurel A."
And where do you get those?
You can get this. You can download it for free at this place called Noise Trade.
Oh,
So
that's
I just
dope.
wanted to.
Sweethead on
Sweethead.
noisetrade.com.
Yeah, it's basically noisetrade.com. You can download it and it's free. And
And then you got a Twitter.
yeah, I've got mine.
And what is it?
Well, I'll spell it.
Yeah, please do.
It's my name, Troy Van Leeuwen.
L-E-E.
L-E, yeah, TROYVANLEEUWEN.
It looked like you had to think about it for a minute.
I totally did. I can't even tell you how many times I've heard people murder my last name.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It would be great to do a clip of just people trying to pronounce it just back to back.
Yeah. It's true though, man.
It is. There's a lot of vowels.
Well, even when I was gonna have Nick on. Nick's done the show a few times. He made that King Diamond mask
Oh, that's
for me.
awesome. I
He's
was looking
great.
at that. I was
Yeah,
wondering.
he made that for me. I love Nick.
killer.
Came over in his El Camino.
I love Nick.
He's so great. He just comes over. He's like, "Cops were just all over my hut, dude. Let's do a podcast." You're like, "What?" What a gangster.
He is, and he's fucking hilarious too.
God damn.
He's super funny.
I told you that story. I saw you guys at Jones. I was there eating dinner.
yeah.
And I go, "Oh, shit. They're getting the lineup back together." Because Nick was there. You guys are there. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Look at that. They're there." It's funny. It's funny because I read somewhere where Josh said, I was friends with Nick the entire time after he was
Yep.
fired 2
Yeah.
weeks later. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean that's the thing. That's the cool thing about those guys. They're bros, and
Yeah.
and you have differences with your bros, and you sort it out, and then you're still bros. Or if you're not, you probably weren't in the first place.
It's
you
true.
know?
It's true.
So and then and that's why it's cool that Nick can open up for us at the Forum. It's fucking rad.
Unbelievable.
And-
I wanted to go to that Halloween gig so bad.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it was
working that night.
It was nuts.
That's good. Now,
good.
You guys are going to come back, work on a new record, no
Yeah.
shows, nothing,
Queens,
just stash out.
I don't think we'll be playing out until probably, we want to
Summer.
make sure the record's
Yeah.
tight and ready to go.
Well, that last record was fantastic. Thanks
you.
for coming over.
Thank you for
And we're
having
to get
me.
you guys down to the Comedy Store.
All right.
And
Bug me, because I
I'll hit
forget
you
stuff.
all the time. And, hopefully I get on stage tonight. It'll be the first time, and since then...
Yeah.
I did do two shows after the crash. Or
Yeah, you
whatever.
probably still had adrenaline.
I was like, I'm
gonna be great.
I only got to go down there for 15 minutes, and then I realized, I can't talk. Yeah, with a volume.
Yeah,
Because I do stuff where I'll be like, all right, like some comedy thing or whatever, and I was like, I can't do that. Like my ribs would not move.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming by.
You got it, man. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
Okay, see you later.